Hey everyone, Trienne here. Welcome back to the Be That Create That channel. Excited to bring you some wonderful guests over the next couple weeks. You know, the great thing about social networks and social networking is that we are able to reach people from all different spaces, all different backgrounds. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to connect in that way and be able to share some of the things that we have going on. So as you know, the Be That Create That channel is about talking about, creating our own leadership lifestyle and making those choices every day. So the guests that I'm bringing you guys, we always have the conversation go back to that. But it's interesting to see how people are helping others make those choices. So I'm bringing you some coaches, but also in our everyday lives. If you don't think that you are a leader, I've got news for you. You are leading through your decisions every single day. And in a lot of those cases, it's helpful for us to have a mentor or someone that we can look to for accountability to help us along the way. And as you know, I find so much just like fascination, curiosity, what have you, and the fact that people have these targets that they're going after and how they are getting to those. And there's lots of different ways to get there. And today's guest is no different. I'm going to be bringing on Carol today. Hey, good morning.
Good morning or good afternoon from me, Trienne.
Right. Good afternoon for you. I, just sharing the fact that we're able to connect from so many different spaces around the world. So I'm glad that we were able to get this interview scheduled for you today in a time that worked for you as well.
Yeah. It was perfect timing.
So Carol, you guys can always describe yourselves and what you do way better than I ever could. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the group, to the channel, who you are and what you do, kind of in a synopsis, it's hard to do, I know, but go ahead and share that with us.
Sure. I'm Carol Mae Whittick. I'm a spiritual life coach. I'm a podcaster. I also share with everyone that I'm a creatrix. I've been creating since I was young, writing, singing, performing, that kind of thing. So that's really what I'm about, is about creating myself. And I think if I look back on where I am today, it's all about me having an idea and a vision about the things that I wanted to do, the things that I wanted to learn, and actually not letting any barriers like other people's opinions or societal expectations stop me from going where I wanted to go to get the information that I wanted to find out. If there's a locked door, I'm like, why is it locked to me? I'm the person that's like,
that.
well, I want to find out. I'm not going to go down the road of like, it's not for me. I've just always had an idea that I wanted to create something amazing for myself, even though I didn't necessarily know what amazing was. Like in my days of kind of chasing fame and fortune as a singer, then that's what it looked like, to be all over the world and everything like that. But and chasing that, or kind of going through that evolution of all the disappointments and all the things that I had to learn about myself and the world, and how to kind of stay strong while you're getting all of this rejection. If ever you want a lesson in resilience, go for a creative career, but it just taught me so much. And also it gave me a real alignment and trust in my own inspiration, and spirituality grew from that, because when you're writing your own stuff, when you're creating your own stuff, you're always pulling on things that no one can see, and then you make them tangible. So that's why I just truly believe in the inspiration, my intuition, because it served me in creating the life that I have today. It's been no one else's idea but mine.
Right. I love that you say, I knew I wanted to create something amazing, even if I wasn't sure what that was in the moment. That's so wonderful, because we are always creating. Every decision that we make, every, choice, every moment, every person that we meet, we're creating that life. And Tony Robbins is the one that says, life happens for you, not to you. And as soon as I remember hearing that on a podcast and making that like mindset flip, it was almost to the point where I was able to like look for more opportunities. Everything is an opportunity, right? For growth and for a chance to learn something. And as leaders, that's what we do, right? Continuous learning, continuous adaptability. So how did you decide then that you wanted to take all this creative movement and turn that into being a spiritual life coach?
I think it was an idea. It wasn't like a one-stop idea. I think it was always something that I was doing anyway throughout my life. You know, I was always the person that people would come to for advice, for wisdom. Even when I was really young, older people would come and kind of run things by me. So it always just stayed with me as just having um, a quality that people felt they could come to for guidance, for nurturing, for ideas. And it just kind of just grew on from there. So I've always been doing it. I don't think there's any one moment where I'm just like, that's what I'm going to do. If I think about where the kind of initial seed came from, how and then over the years I've kind of done women's circles or workshops, and I ran a little membership site years ago that it was way ahead of my time because I didn't have the audience for it, you know, but I knew that that was things that I wanted to do. And every now and again people would just contact me and just say, oh, can you coach me through this, or can I speak to you through that, whether it was helping them with their voice, whether it was helping them launch a podcast, or whether it was helping them with some life stuff, because they were seeing how I was managing to navigate some quite difficult things in my own life. And then over time, when I was just kind of coming into a transition of like, I don't want to put all my energy in chasing the music dream. That's always going to be part of my life. I'm always going to do that, but I'm going to take the weight of it, of my almost like my self-esteem. I think with a lot of creators, when we're like, this is my work, this is who I want to be, and it keeps getting smacked back, is that there's a tendency for it to become a real kick into your own personal ego. So when I had the last attempt of kind of really pushing a project not go well, I kind of sat back for a bit. It's like, what am I going to do? So I spent a few years just learning how the internet worked and how to work online, and so that I could travel and do things. And then over time, I just thought, let me just really turn this into something. You know, I kind of had like my big 50th birthday last year. I'm like, what am I going to do with this half of my life? I'm going to, you know, just kind of switch everything, still be creative, but still look at all the things that life has taught me, look at all the wisdom and the insights that I've gained, and be able to actually turn it into something really solid. But I've been always doing it. It just seems like maybe I've only like vocally spoke about it in public and actually declared that, but it's always been something that I've always been had one or two people that I'm working with behind the scenes anyway.
Can you share with us, because obviously you are making an impact with your podcast. So that was one of the things that drew me to having a conversation with you is, okay, so the name of the podcast is H.E.R podcast.
Yeah.
So explain that acronym for us and how you've used that to develop your episodes and your content.
Sure. The acronym H.E.R is higher energetic resonance, and that actually came from when it's about 10 years ago as well. Facebook reminded me that I was shooting you know, I was shooting a music video for one of my songs, and to be honest, like putting the whole project together, getting like a director and extras and everything like that. Everyone was really wowed by the whole thing. I had a beautiful venue and it looked amazing on camera, but I was literally like going through like quite a tough time, you know what I mean? It was like I was like literally bootstrapping this whole thing. But if you watch it back, and if I watch it back, you know, like I'm like, it's amazing that that got done because I know what I was going through at the time. But what really struck me was my friend was shooting some behind the scenes videos, and when I saw the kind of the first cut of the video, there was like a picture of me, because I found this red dress that I wanted to wear and I went to someone's house to get it. It was, you know, just like the random story. I found her on Instagram. I'm like, I want that.
I want that. Yes.
Yeah. And I sent her a message and go, I'm shooting a video in 2 days and I really like your dress. Can I borrow it? And went to her house. And I'm, you know, I'm like 5'11". Like I'm not the easiest for people to dress. So it's like, why did I think that was going to fit me? But somehow, by the grace of the grace, it just like it fit me. It went all the way from my shoulders to my ankles. It was perfect, you know. So I had this dress and I'd made some other, you know, bits and pieces to go with it. But when I saw the clip of like just a short of me on that, I'm like, who is that? That, you know, I saw there was like a little her of me before the glam, and then a shot of me in the dress, and it was like H.E.R. So I had that around me for a while. I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. And at the time I was blogging a lot, so I'd blog on my website, and I put the higher energetic resonance to it, really not knowing what I was going to do with that at all. I had no idea. And it was getting to the point where I felt that I wanted to do something more online, but I didn't just want to be like a, hi guys, look at what I had for dinner kind of person, you know? And
Yes.
do you know what I mean? I'm like, who cares about, like, I eat some nice stuff, but you know, I want to kind of give more value.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea came from for doing a podcast, because I'm like, well, I've got all the equipment, I know how to use it, I've been in music production for ages, and also because my low-hanging fruit were in the spirituality and wellness community, so I was able to populate my first few podcasts episodes really quickly. So it's called Higher Energetic Resonance Conversations, Tools for the Awakening. And it's initially it was Tools for the Awakening Woman, but Tools for the Awakening, because generally just the awakening of humanity, of people, that whole shift that we're all going through, that just coming into like a bigger expanded version of ourselves. And I speak to, and it's a higher percentage of women, but women in the wellness, spirituality, empowerment kind of scenes, you know, and I like to have guys on there as well, but there's just I'm not finding them as much. But you know, so that's basically what it's all about. And then about 6 months ago, I launched a sister podcast, because one is not enough. It's higher energetic, you know, like, you know, how to running a podcast is a lot. I don't think people take on board
It is a lot.
the amount
Yes.
of work.
It is a lot. And it's like tattoos. It's addicting. Once you have one, you have all these ideas for others.
Yeah, so this was like her inspiration, so higher energetic resonance inspirations, where it's I translated all of my solo episodes off the Conversations podcast
Okay.
platform, and it's just me taking on a subject and kind of riffing on a subject and expanding on it, and then coaching, you know, giving some coaching tips and things like that. So this week I talked about shame and guilt, you know, so just really going deep into project then things like that. So I've talked about fear, procrastination, forgiveness, anything like that that pops in my head. I'll be like, what shall I write about this week? What shall I talk about this week? So that's what that whole H.E.R podcast world is about.
I love that. And, you know I waited like a year and a half to launch my podcast. So how long were you thinking about it before you hit that record on your first episode?
So I came up with the idea, and I was in a Kundalini yoga group at the time, and so we were doing a lot of sadhana, a lot of meditation. So you know, really, like, I was getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning, doing 2 hours every day. I was committed. You know, I stay up with it now, but not to that extent. So the idea came to me, and it was September 2017, and then I'd recorded everything kind of September, October. And then I launched in November, and then we've been running ever since. There's been breaks when life happens, but I come back. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. All right. So I have had you on here for quite a while, and now people are going to say, where do I follow you? And, where are you hanging out these days?
I'm on Instagram as Kazmic, so CAZMICK. But to kind of get a whole hub of my world and an idea of where I come from, it's Carol Mae Whittick, so CarolMaeWhittick.com. And then you can just kind of see everything and kind of go down whichever rabbit hole of my life you want to go down.
Well, and then I did take a look at your website, obviously, before we jumped on today, and I noticed that you have some summer programming coming out. Is there one that stands out more than another that you are super excited about that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's the free journey that everyone can take, which is embody higher energetic resonance. So I'm using H.E.R all over the place now. And it's a week-long journey, and it's just 3 steps closer to becoming the woman of your dreams. So it's when you have a vision of things that you want to do, and you kind of just like really get into the space of it. Because I think a lot of the times we're trying to create from a space of like, I don't know what the next step is, I don't, you know, and the space of not knowing who we are. But we're never given visions without it being for us so that we can expand into it. So if you get into that real space of feeling and sensing it, and then from that expanded state, then ask that person who you are, what is the next step to take, and move forward from there, and like deal with all the problems from there. But then also see yourself in the future. What are you going to be 5 years from that state? What legacy are you going to move from? So be kind of in that visioning, because I've always been, that's always I'm always in my head, head in the clouds, they've told me, but it's
Yes.
worked out well for me. So I
Yeah,
don't mind.
you are speaking my love language right now. It's all about the vision and who are you and what do you become. And I absolutely, yes, totally align with that. I love that because I think, we're so stuck in the day. We're so
Yeah.
stuck in where we are and what we're doing right now that, one of my team members and I were just having a conversation about this the other day. And that came from a reactionary mode, right? He feels very reactionary over things right away instead of really thinking about how do I want to respond? What do I want to feel like? What do I want this other person to feel like, right? It's like this. So I had heard on another podcast, you know, if I react this way, is this the person that I want to be? Is this what I want to be known for? Whatever. And having those things go through your head. So we learn best by teaching people other things, right? So I shared that with him. And it has also made me step back just every once in a while and go, is this in alignment with that person that I want to become, the way that I want to act? What do I want to be known for? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? So it's interesting how just stopping for a second and asking ourselves those questions and understanding that that decision is going to, in that moment, take us to that person.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting to me how those things work out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
hmm So, do you have any? I always give you guys a chance at the end of these. Do you have any questions for me? I've had you on hot seat now for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, do you have any questions that pop up for me during this conversation that we've been able to have?
Yeah, I always like it's always interesting to find out what we always meet people and you have your level of expertise. Is what advice, if you're looking at me, it's like, I can see you're doing this, but like, have you got like a nugget of wisdom for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always all ears, and I always want to grow from, I see everyone doing their thing and I love it, and I love the conversations I'm able to have. So I'm like always like, I'm coachable. I'm open.
Right.
Yeah,
One of
yeah.
the things that I did say for you when we first got on and it wasn't recorded was taking your picture and putting it in all the marketing and the things for this podcast and things. Okay, honey, I'll be out in just a second. My kids are home for the summer,
Oh,
obviously.
lovely.
It's okay, babe. So one of the things that I think about in that case is I told you I saw your picture and then I started to read your bio. And then, of course, I got into the scroll hole and started to look through your website. And, I was just trying to get into who you are, what you do, those types of things. And as soon as I brought up your black and white picture, I was like, wow. I mean, it was stunning. And it matched your messaging.
Mm.
And I think that sometimes we forget that a personal brand isn't about a product or a service. A personal brand is about who we are and how we're putting our face out in that world, right? And you powerfully showed up through not only like the language that you're using in your message, but it matched your picture and you could feel that energy coming through. And it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. I'll tell my friend, I was telling you, it's my friend Julia who took that picture as well, which is why I'm holding out for her to do the next round of things, because she's got a way of kind of just seeing the person through the lens. Not only is she an amazing photographer, but she's also she's got she can see past, what we present, like that. It was such an interesting day when that picture was taken, so much drama, but we got something amazing done.
Right. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Carol, for being on the social channels with us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. It was an honor to meet you.
Thank
Obviously.
you.
Yes. All right, you guys, we will see you either through the next YouTube podcast or in the Female Leader Headquarters community over on the Facebook. And that's where we're having these leadership discussions, right? We are all leaders in our own lives. Be intentional with those choices that you're making, and they're going to lead you into the visions that you have for yourself in your life. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you.